Hi, my name is Emily Pickett, and I'm the Florida organizer for Moms Clean Air Force. We are a community of 1.5 million moms and dads united in the fight for clean air and climate action to protect our children's health and future. We have more than 183,000 members here in Florida. We're excited to be here at Florida Climate Week 2023 to share with you why medium and heavy-duty vehicles that use fossil fuels, such as gas, diesel, and propane, are toxic to our community's health, and why there's an urgent need to transition to zero-emission vehicles. School buses in particular present a great opportunity to improve our children's health, as well as the health of our communities. Today, we'll share with you what Moms Clean Air Force is doing to push for the adoption of electric school buses, or ESBs, within Florida school districts, and how you can become an advocate for ESBs in your hometowns. School buses are a familiar sight in nearly every American community. They're essential to helping our children access the education they deserve, but all too often, the same buses that carry our children to school are polluting the air they breathe. Throughout today's presentation, we'll hear from a few members of our Kids Clean Air Force. They'll be sharing their take on why we need clean school buses. Let's hear from Eli first.
Hi, I'm Eli. I know air pollution from cars, trucks, and buses can make us sick and hurt the planet. What do you know? Let's test your knowledge.
Thanks, Eli. And now it's time for a quiz. Question number 1. What is the largest source of climate pollution in the United States? Is it A, power plants, B, transportation, or C, agriculture? The answer, B, transportation. Transportation is the largest source of greenhouse gas emissions in the United States, making up 29% of all emissions. Greenhouse gas emissions from transportation primarily come from burning fossil fuels for our cars, trucks, ships, trains, and planes. Over 94% of the fuel used for transportation is petroleum-based, which includes primarily gasoline and diesel. Next, within the transportation sector, what type of vehicle contributes more to overall greenhouse gas emissions? Is it A, light-duty vehicles like cars, or B, heavy-duty vehicles like school buses and garbage trucks? The answer is A, light-duty vehicles like cars. Standard passenger cars contribute 58% of the transportation sector's emissions, while heavy-duty vehicles come in second at 23%. Number 3, true or false? The air trailing a bus is always more polluted than the air inside the bus. A is true, B is false. The answer is B, false. The air inside a school bus, a diesel school bus, consists of anywhere between 5 to 10 times more air pollution than outside the school bus. 4, what percentage of Americans live in places with unhealthy levels of air pollution? 7%, 15%, 36%, or 48%? The answer here is C. Although air quality in the U.S. has improved in the last several decades, 36% of Americans, nearly 120 million people, live in places with unhealthy levels of air pollution, according to the 2023 State of the Air Report. And for your final question, how many Americans live within 300 feet, which is about the size of a football field, of a major roadway or transportation facility? A, 45 million, B, 20 million, C, 65 million, or D, 80 million? The answer is A, 45 million. According to the EPA, more than 45 million people in the U.S. live within 300 feet of a major roadway or transportation facility. Thanks for playing along. Hope you learned something new. And now let's hear from another one of our Clean Air kids.
Hi, I'm Abigail. I remember the time I went on a field trip and I could smell fumes from the bus while in my seat. We need electric school buses to make field trips more enjoyable and safe.
Hi, I'm Liz Hurtado, and I'm a National Field Manager at Moms Clean Air Force. How did you do on the quiz? Any surprises? I'm here to shed more light on these facts and explain how air pollution and diesel-powered vehicles affect the health of our children and our communities. Every day, 500,000 Florida children ride to and from school on 18,000 diesel buses. Diesel buses create tailpipe pollution, which causes a wide range of health issues. Tailpipe pollution from buses is shown to trigger asthma attacks, interfere with lung development, contribute to cancer, and even reduce children's ability to learn. Children are especially vulnerable to the health impacts of dirty vehicle exhaust, in part because their lungs are still developing. Young lungs and hearts work harder than those of adults. Children take more breaths, and their hearts beat faster. Their organ systems are still growing, especially their lungs, which aren't fully mature until around age 20. Diesel and propane buses often idle in schoolyards, spewing pollution directly into the spaces where children are learning and playing. The main pollutants from diesel and propane buses are nitrogen oxides, particulate matter, and greenhouse gases. Here are some of the ways they affect our health. Nitrogen oxides, or NOx, pollution exacerbates asthma, allergies, and other respiratory diseases. It also contributes to the formation of smog, which has been linked to respiratory problems and mental health effects in young people. Particulate matter, or PM 2.5, consists of tiny particles that can become deeply embedded in the lungs and bloodstream, making it an especially dangerous form of pollution. It can cause serious respiratory and cardiovascular harm, contributing to asthma, reduced lung function, and even premature death among people with heart or lung disease. Excess greenhouse gases, like carbon dioxide, are causing climate change. And climate change is linked to a range of health harms, such as increased heat-related illnesses, more injuries from extreme weather events, changes in water, food, and vector-borne diseases, exacerbated asthma, and mental health impacts. This pollution is especially harmful to the 285,000 children in Florida who suffer from asthma. Asthma attacks can be so life-altering for children that they cause them to miss school. In fact, asthma is a leading cause of school absenteeism. Air pollution is also especially harmful to the millions of Floridians who suffer from adult asthma, COPD, respiratory disease, and lung cancer. The air inside a school bus can be more polluted than the air outside of it, as we revealed in the quiz. When the diesel pollution gets trapped inside the cabin, it can make for a sickening ride for the children on board, as well as the bus drivers. Even after accounting for emissions caused by electricity generation, electric school buses still have vastly lower emissions than diesel and propane buses. In fact, the Union of Concerned Scientists found that battery electric buses had lower greenhouse gas emissions than diesel or natural gas buses everywhere in the country. In California, for example, electric buses had 70% lower greenhouse gas emissions than their diesel or natural gas counterparts. Our country's electricity grid is getting cleaner every year, so the emissions created through electricity generation will be even lower in the future.
Hi, I'm Lucas. When the school buses are on and kids are loading into them, it's really smelly. If we had electric school buses, these unhealthy fumes would go away.
Emission-producing vehicles don't just negatively affect us directly in terms of exhaust fumes. Our reliance on fossil fuels contributes to our warming climate dramatically. In Florida, we are feeling the effects of climate change more than ever. With extreme air and water temperatures this past summer, the threat of sea level rise, and ever-intensifying hurricanes. We must curb emissions immediately to prevent further disasters. While climate change and air pollution are threats to everyone, the impacts are not felt equally. Communities of color and low-income communities face the greatest risk because they are hit first and worst. This inequitable system is not a coincidence. Systemic racism has created practices that force minority families to live in places that are more susceptible to toxic air pollution. Latinos, for example, often live and work in frontline communities disproportionately exposed to harmful air pollution, climate change, and toxic chemicals. The health impacts, climate change, and environmental justice issues we see as a result of our reliance on fossil fuels gives us more than enough reasons to fight for a just transition to clean energy, including electric vehicles.
Thank you, Liz, for sharing just how dangerous air pollution can be to our health. Next, I'll explain why ESBs offer a perfect solution. Zero-emission electric buses don't generate any tailpipe pollution, making them your child's cleanest ride home from school. Kids who ride electric buses get a cleaner, quieter, and healthier commute, while school districts save money on fuel and maintenance. Electric school buses help clean up the air we breathe. They run on battery power with no tailpipe emissions. That means no harmful diesel pollution and no dangerous climate pollution. This is especially helpful in communities burdened with high levels of traffic pollution and high rates of childhood asthma. They're also great in rural communities where children often have to take long bus rides. To break it all down, here are 6 reasons to choose electric school buses over propane or diesel. 1, they're healthier than diesel or propane. Propane buses often are seen as a cleaner alternative to diesel buses, but they still emit tailpipe pollution that's harmful to our health and to the environment. A study by a University of Michigan public health epidemiologist estimates that transitioning to clean school buses across the country could result in 14 million fewer absences among bus riding children per typical school year. 2, they're cost effective. Electric buses cost 60% less to operate and maintain and provides a 10% total cost of ownership savings over a lifetime. ESBs have lower fuel and maintenance costs than their diesel and propane counterparts, and right now there are many federal programs providing funding to aid school districts as they transition to electric. If Florida were to convert its entire fleet, it could save more than $100 million annually. Districts in Florida that use electric buses are seeing cost savings of $2,000 on fuel and $4,400 in maintenance per bus each year. While some school districts are currently seeing inflated pricing for new ESBs, costs are anticipated to come down over the next few years as the market expands. 3, they're quieter, cleaner, and more pleasant to ride. Drivers and students love to ride on electric school buses due to the reduced vibration and noise. The smoother ride allows kids to arrive at school more calm and ready to start the day because they don't have to shout to hear each other on the bus. 4, they're a smart investment for the future. Switching to electric school buses reduces climate warming greenhouse gas emissions, helping to prevent future harm from climate change. And electric buses can help school districts future-proof their fleets. Governments are implementing new emission reduction goals, which electric buses can help them meet. 5, they can act as backup batteries that service local electric grids and school buildings. As extreme weather becomes more common, so will power outages. For utilities and school districts, electric buses offer a valuable opportunity to build up resilience. This is especially important here in Florida, where hurricanes hitting our state often result in dangerous power outages. Eventually, vehicle-to-grid technology may even help school districts generate revenue as they return power to the grid. And number 6, they're reliable. Electric school buses have an average range of at least 100 miles, well over the distance of a typical route. And their long dwell times and predictable routes allow for convenient overnight charging, which typically coincides with the lowest priced energy, giving school buses the battery charge they need to operate during the day. Just as passenger electric vehicles provide drivers with quick and powerful rides, electric motors deliver school bus drivers the power and responsiveness they need to carry our children safely and reliably. Now that we've shared why electric school buses are the best solution for cutting air pollution and keeping our kids healthy, we'll share the latest on ESBs in Florida and how we can bring them to our local communities.
Hi, I'm Luke. I ride my bike to school, and sometimes I'm behind a stinky bus. It would be awesome to have electric school buses on the streets so we could all breathe cleaner air.
Mom's Clean Air Force wants every community to benefit from cleaner air and a healthier ride to school. So how can we make this a reality in Florida? Let's look at the current status of electric school buses in our state. Last September, Governor Ron DeSantis and Florida's Department of Environmental Protection announced awards to purchase 218 electric school buses in 7 school districts across Florida from a Volkswagen settlement in which the company violated the Clean Air Act by selling diesel vehicles that violated US EPA's mobile source emission standards. Broward County Public Schools has begun to take delivery of its buses via 60 new Bluebird electric buses to serve as replacements for older diesel buses built on or before 2009. Other recipients include Manatee County Schools with 20 ESBs, Sarasota County for 12, Pinellas for 20, and Orange County for 6. With funding from the Bipartisan Infrastructure Law, EPA launched its Clean School Bus program last year, which provides $5 billion over 5 years from 2022 to 2026 to replace existing school buses with zero-emission and low-emission models. The program provides the funds through rebates and grants to offset costs associated with transitioning to a clean fleet. Dixie, Glades, and Lafayette counties were the first 3 Florida counties to receive EPA Clean School Bus funding for a total of 39 new ESBs, which will be rolling out soon. Currently, Duval, Columbia, and Columbia counties, as well as the Pembroke Pines community in Southeast Florida, are applying for the current round of Clean School Bus funding from the EPA. So hopefully, clean school buses will be rolling out on their streets soon as well. If your school district isn't one of the ones currently slated to receive an ESB, you might be wondering, how can I get one? This is where Mom's Clean Air Force and you can work together to mobilize local communities and advocate for the transition. And now we have one final message from our Kids Clean Air Force.
Let's bring electric school buses to Florida!
Now is the time for Florida school districts to seize every opportunity to leverage funding to build a sustainable future for our kids who deserve clean, healthy air. While we are pleased to see the progress being made, our state has a long way to go to get all 500,000 bus riders on an electric bus. So how will electric school buses arrive in your community? Everyone should get involved. Mom's Clean Air Force takes a variety of actions to encourage the transition to clean school buses and electric vehicles in general. We petition our lawmakers to fund grant programs and research initiatives to help schools transition to cleaner buses and improve the technology. These programs should prioritize those communities already struggling with high levels of air pollution and childhood asthma. Our members provide public comments before the EPA anytime there are regulatory changes regarding air pollution. This year, MOMS members have helped advocate for cleaner cars and trucks, as well as strengthen standards for mercury and air toxics, pollution from power plants, and much more. We share information about funding opportunities with school districts, so they have the resources to be able to commit to purchasing electric buses. We ask utilities to assist school districts in financing buses and electric vehicle infrastructure. And one of the most fun things we do is use music to convey the importance of a transition to clean school buses. Our Eco Madres program, which is Mom's Latino outreach and engagement arm, uses music to explain why we need solutions for air pollution and climate change. Our musical ensemble, Son Tierra, has recorded a song titled El Bus, which was written in the Dominican merengue style. Its playful tune purposefully uses several of the many terms Latin American cultures use to refer to buses. Have a listen.
Cuando mi bus pasó por este barrio, no se le oía porque no tenía motor. No, no, no hizo ruido ni contaminó al andar, porque era eléctrico y no consumía gas. There goes the bus, again I didn't hear it. What will my teacher say when I am late for school again? It just sneaks up on me, at least now I can breathe, 'cause it's electric and it doesn't spew out soot. I am so glad I'm
I love how the song takes such an important issue and communicates it in a way that is easy to understand. And best of all, it's memorable. The lyrics combined with the music give these messages lasting power. But the work doesn't stop with us at Moms Clean Air Force. You can advocate too. You can mobilize your community to take collective action by speaking up to demand cleaner buses to protect our children's health and their future. Here are 3 ways. First, learn about funding opportunities that may be available to your school district. You can always check the EPA Clean School Bus site or check us out at Moms Clean Air Force for the latest information on funding opportunities. Share this with your family members and friends so word gets out that funding is available. 2, you can also gather a group of interested school children, families, teachers, the more the merrier, and tell your principal, superintendent, or board of education why electric school buses are right for your district. If they have questions, point them in the direction of Moms Clean Air Force so we can assist with resources to help them make the switch. And 3, you can share your story. Join us in sharing why clean air is important to you. We are constantly sharing on our website and via social media how you can leave public comments on strengthening pollution standards. Your story can help drive the change to a cleaner future. I'll conclude this Florida Climate Week talk by reiterating the fact that children deserve to ride school buses that don't put their health or their future in jeopardy. The future is bright for Florida's kids if we continue to lead on electric school bus adoption and make children's health a priority. We hope you'll join Moms Clean Air Force in advocating for the transition to clean school buses.
There goes the bus, again I didn't hear it. What will my teacher say when I am late for school again? It just sneaks up on me, at least now I can breathe. 'Cause it's electric and it doesn't spew out soot. I am so glad.